Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 16th, the 16th today. Um, it is already hotter than blue blazes out there, and it's just now 11 o'clock. It's almost 90 degrees. Supposed to hit triple digits again today. So stay inside where it's air conditioned. Today, our daily lectionary reading is Psalm 53. We're working in that. Then we have 1 Samuel 15:24 to 31. And our New Testament reading is Luke 6:43 to 45. So they are fairly short readings today, which is good because I'm still a little. Actually, my throat's a little worse than it was yesterday, even. So, Psalm 53. Fools say in their hearts, "There is no God." They are corrupt. They commit abominable acts. There is no one who does good. God looks down from heaven on humankind to see if there are any who are wise, who seek after God. They have fallen away. They are all alike perverse. There is no one who does good, no, not one. Have they no knowledge, these evildoers who eat up my people as they eat bread and do not call upon God? There they shall be in terror such as has not been. For God will scatter the bones of the ungodly. They will be put to shame, for God has rejected them. Oh, that deliverance for Israel would come from Zion when God restores the fortunes of his people. Jacob will rejoice, Israel will be glad. Now we continue our story of Samuel and Saul. If you remembered yesterday, Samuel had rebuked Saul for not obeying God's command. God had commanded that when Saul conquered the Amalekites that he would kill them all. Men, women, children, and livestock. And instead Saul kept aside some ostensibly for a sacrifice. And Samuel was rebuking him, saying, "That's not what God told you to do." So, our reading today. Saul said to Samuel, "I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in your words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. Now, therefore, I pray, pardon my sin, and return with me so that I may worship the Lord." And Samuel said to Saul, "I will not return with you, for you have rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord has rejected you from being king over Israel." Now, as Samuel turned to go away, Saul caught hold of the hem of his robe, and it tore. And Samuel said to him, "The Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you this very day, and has given it to a neighbor of yours who is better than you. Moreover, the glory of Israel will not recant or change his mind, for he is not immortal, and that he should change his mind." Then Saul said, "I have sinned, yet honor me now before the elders of my people and before Israel, and return with me so that I may worship the Lord your God." So Samuel turned back after Saul, and Saul worshiped the Lord. This is actually what's going on here. There's a lot of hard lessons here that people struggle with the nature of God. The slaughter of the Amalekites, including women and children and livestock. People struggle with that. People struggle with Saul not obeying and keeping the livestock for a sacrifice, and God taking the kingship away from him. And on that one, I think we need to keep in mind God didn't want Israel to have kings anyway, but Israel kept begging, and finally God relented. Um, so it's kind of in keeping with that okay, God said, "Okay, I will let you have a king, even though you shouldn't. You should just keep the Lord your God as your king." And then when that king obeys God, it's not really that big of a leap for God to say, "See, you can't. This is what I feared," and take the kingship away and try again. At least he didn't take away the very concept of kingship. Although as we look what happened, particularly after David and Solomon had good runs, but then after that, the history of kings in Israel and Judah was not exactly stellar. The more bad than good, splitting the kingdom, kingship just seems to have not been a very good method of government for the nation of Israel. So let's go to our New Testament, Luke 6:43 to 45. This might sound familiar. No tree, no good tree bears bad fruit, nor again does a bad tree bear good fruit. For each tree is known by its own fruit. Figs are not gathered from thorns, nor are grapes picked from the bramble bush. The good person out of the good treasure of the heart produces good, and the evil person out of the evil treasure produces evil. For it is out of the abundance of the heart that the mouth speaks. They will know us by our fruit. They'll look at the actions that come from our heart. Not saying good people don't ever do bad things, but generally speaking, good people do good things, and bad people do bad things, evil people. Which is interesting, though, when you look at the Psalm saying there is no one who does good, no, not one, compared to this one where it said you've got good people doing good treasure out of the heart, and evil person out of evil treasure. Then again, where does that goodness come from? Does it come from, is it innate goodness, or is it from the Holy Spirit, the indwelling of the Holy Spirit that leads us to do good works and have good fruit? Lots of stuff to think about now. And on that note, I will leave you for today, Wednesday. Stay indoors, stay cool, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.